I check my own band on the internet. Shameful. Let's see if I can get this full screen. Cool. Alright. Cool. I'm Charlie. I have some notes which I sat down somewhere. I'm just going to go through them. Cool. Alright. I'm Charlie. Hello. Right, let's start there. I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm not going to worry about the notes. So I'm a co-founder at a social film site called Good Films. You should 100% join it, not just because my smiling face is telling you to. I head up the design and front-end development there and try not to break Rails much, which is great. I also started a band called Brightly. That's a photo of me spinning around. That's actually created using the magic of Photoshop and is not actually real. Full disclosure. So being in a band, I found out, is actually quite expensive. I didn't know this when I started it. I thought it would be like being in the Beatles and people would just give us money, but they don't, which is a really big issue for me. And so when we went to make a film clip, I should have used my notes. Right, so I describe our music as electronic folk, right, which sometimes makes me feel like the guy at a party wearing a beret. And full disclosure, don't wear berets, right? Underline, it's awful. Anyway, so I felt like I was throwing money away. I got a quote to do a film clip and I realized very early on that I couldn't afford it. I don't know what a real film clip is, but I don't know. So I started looking around to do a lyric video because I really love public domain footage. It's awesome, it's freely available. There's the Prelinger archives, which were put together in 1983, I believe, by Rick Prelinger in New York, and a bunch of really great public domain footage you can freely use commercially without breaking copyright law, which is great, because breaking copyright law isn't the best. And so I started to think about how I could use that to my advantage. Maybe I could put together something that would use public domain footage and a lyric video. And I found there's torrents. There's so many torrents of public domain footage, it's awesome. You know, it's have to be a Game of Thrones. You can break the rules. I don't know if anyone saw last week's episode. Oh my god. So lyric videos, no one really cares, right? 4 minutes and 15 seconds of me talking about my fear of flying over a backdrop of silent movies is not something that people are going to get particularly passionate about. It doesn't involve them. They can't get involved with it. They can't hack it. They can't break it. They can't do anything. Just look at it. And no one wants to. So I started to think about a project that I started a while ago called The Feelings Machine that would basically jump around Tumblr and try and ascertain how people are feeling on Tumblr, right? They feel everything. It's an open book, right? There was no discernible feeling other than all. So I went back to the drawing board, right? And I decided to use Twitter to do a mashup with Twitter API. I come from an advertising background. And if you want to get people excited, just say mashup. It's fine. You don't have to go any further than that. Actually, money, right? We're all good. So I got together with my friends Glenn Madden and John Martin and Tim Lucas, who's here, and they helped me a bunch to build an Angular JS-powered music video that's interactive. You might have seen it. If you have, I apologize for the fact that we're going to sit through like 8 seconds of it. You won't hear me sing. It's fine. I can do that to you. But basically, what it does is when you start it, it runs out, grabs a bunch of tweets, and then animates them over the top of this public domain footage. And something really weird happened because I started to feel things, which is weird, right? I feel a lot generally, but started to feel things, and some really strange things happened, right? An old guy died in Canada over the course of the song in a car park, and someone was tweeting about it in real time, and so over the course of watching it, car park disappeared. So I was like, wow, this is really crazy. I used Yum and Compass to do it because they're awesome. Compass primarily because animation prefixes are ridiculous in animation, and I don't know, it's the worst. And Yeoman because it's got the best logo in the world. Sinatra on the back end because it's great and I like him. And Memcache to cache your tweets to get around Twitter's API greatly, which is a lot. It's actually available publicly if you're super keen to check it out. The server is on my GitHub. How good is Flexbox? It cuts stuff up. It's so good. So I thought maybe what I could do is go through some things I learned. And then that way it'll be like, you did it too. And we'll be on the same page. So I hosted it with Heroku. If you haven't used Heroku, it's a really great, super simple hosting app. I know I'm veering dangerously away from front-end development when I say hosting. It's all right, we'll get it. It's really great. Hosts like Ruby, Node.js, Java if you're an neckbeard, get into it. Everyone's here. There's a lot of beards here. It's also expensive, which isn't great. So I had to do some stuff to try and write it in a way where it wouldn't cost us more than the film clip would, right? Because that would be different. Two, dealing with caching is not super easy and super frustrating. So my advice is if you are building something that caches, maybe just write a JSON file that you can load separately or do the HTML in line. You're less likely to cry as aggressively as I did. The things you think will go well really do, and I always used to prepare myself for accolades and joy, and very rarely got it. And conversely, the things you think won't go well do, like this film, which is great. Mostly because my mum wants me to buy a house. The title of the talk, you can't transition type auto, which is super duper annoying. So if you are trying to do stuff with the new CSS3 transition stuff, maybe just getting into it, you haven't tried it out yet, there are some limitations, but fortunately you can just jerry-rig some old jQuery in the middle there and use inner, for example. So the way the tweets animated up, what we had to do was overflow hidden, height 0, and then measure the height of the inside element using inner height. That's witchcraft because it's 0. Don't know how it does it. Thanks. You should try AngularJS. It's like the best thing ever in the world. I really love it. Glenn and I are like super big fans of it. That's why we're doing where I just invited myself. We're doing this NG Melt thing next Wednesday. You should come along. It's going to be great. We'll announce the location really soon. So back on the hosting issues with cost, I use Puma. John Martin put me onto Puma, which is a concurrent modern Ruby web server. It's super great. It's better than Unicorns if you know what Unicorns is. Because they have a graph on their website where Unicorns is less. I don't know. Science. It works, bitches. So yeah, very cool. And then 9, you should always prepare for more traffic, right? I don't know if anyone saw Click Frenzy, but that probably proved that less is not necessarily more. So one of the things that I did was prepare for twice as much, and it worked. So between Puma and trying to keep things live, it was good. And 10, you should probably celebrate. I know everyone says like, when you're at work, you put a project live or whatever, and you feel super great about it. You're like, yeah, I'm doing a good job, and then you cry yourself to sleep less. You don't necessarily like do something about it. So my advice is to better celebrate your successes. Get some champagne or watch Game of Thrones again, or do something. It's great. So the things that you think will go well, won't go well every single time. And the thing that I really learned from it was that you and your friends can do really great things, and with all these guys, and I should thank Will because he helped me get up the front page of the Pirate Bay, which is mental. It hit like 250,000 views, which is great, and only cost like $17 in hosting. And all through people's feelings, which is the kind of heavy-handed emotional manipulation that the internet is really all about. So thank you. Oh, by the way, the smoke, it's super great. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.